It's Rachel over there. This guy, he's Eric. Um, I'm here tonight to tell you to imagine what you were told to imagine. I was about to start this live stream and a autoplay video on my phone began. Imagine? No, I will not imagine what you tell me to imagine. Only I decide what I imagine. Okay? Sometimes it might be pot roast. Sometimes might imagine a different kind of pot roast. Sometimes I might imagine, say, a roast cooked in the oven. I could imagine all sorts of different things.
You do.
I could imagine like a meat dish with carrots and potatoes in it. So, as you can see, my range of imaginings is huge. And I want yours to be just as huge. That's why I'm ordering you to imagine what you were told. Now, what I need to do at the moment, of course, are two things. Number one, I need to retrieve my jacket because it has my glasses in it. And as you may or may not know, my glasses are a necessary precondition for my reading your chat on the phone. You might well point out, but Eric, no chat has yet been issued from prospective chatters. So, what is there to read? Well, that brings us to the second point. After I get my jacket, in which are my glasses, I do plan to step outside for a much needed and long overdue cigarette. You can join me, of course, friends. Rachel could join me as well if she wishes. Or she could merely stay in here on her phone as she prefers. Now, a lot of things to talk about tonight, but one thing I wanted to mention was somebody left a comment on my um, simulation theory video, which says that I am wrong because human beings aren't single entities; they're colonies of trillions of cells. Well, that's why I defined my terms. So I defined my terms in the video as self-aware and self-serving. Self-aware, I don't take to mean self-aware sentience like human beings are self-aware, they know what their name is, they understand themselves having a distinct identity. Here I am, hello. It is wonderful to see you. Um, and uh, so what I mean by self-aware is things like you can tell you have a stomach ache, or you you know that you have to pee, or that it's freezing cold and you need to put a jacket on or something. Basic kind of SI stuff that everybody has machine code level of. That kind of self awareness. Um, the or awareness of one's own emotional priorities slash what's important to you, what you value, etc. Hi, cat down the road. I'm lucky. Kiss her.
Mm,
I am a very lucky man.
you're a lucky girl.
I'm. I attribute it to my lucky rabbit's foot. Just before I got with Rachel, I said I'm tired of all this rationalism. I'm gonna get this lucky rabbit's foot. And sure enough, the next day I met Rachel,
It's
and
because
therefore it's all because of the rabbit's foot.
and did you do what they told you?
You mean chop it off the rabbit and then suck all the blood out of it before hanging it on a keychain?
I meant more like they told you to use it or get one, but I didn't know that you went through all that to get a lucky rabbit's foot.
Well, I drove around and saw I found a rabbit carcass that had been road killed. Then I gnawed off its back foot with my teeth, sucked all the blood out of the foot, wore it as like a cock sheath for about a week, and then, you know, off and on. I mean, not continually, obviously.
Yeah, you don't want to get.
But you had to wear. I had to wear it obviously when I wasn't engorged. So
I was thinking jock itch.
oh, there was that too. Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I was lucky. This rabbit wasn't carrying any penis-eating parasites.
Mmm.
Yeah. Or it might also have been, instead of the foot, it could have been the lucky penny I had found the day before.
Oh, it could have been.
I found that in just a regular way. It was on the sidewalk. I picked it up. I said, "Today my luck changes." Anyhow, imagine you pick up a lucky penny that's so lucky it changes your very life. That's the plot of my new feature film. Wow, this penny sure is lucky. About a man who finds the single luckiest penny in the entire world.
Sounds like a heartwarming family film.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is, it ends up being a kind of an exploration of the subject of what comprises good luck. The first thing he wins is an all expenses paid trip to Antarctica.
Oh.
Naturally, he goes to Antarctica because, hey, it's free, only to learn that he gets both airsick and seasick. It was mostly all traveling. He was actually in Antarctica for only 6 hours before he had to catch the return boat headed back. He was airsick and seasick the whole way down and back. So, was it really worth? I mean, did his luck pay off in that instance? No.
Oh no.
No. But, his plane barely avoided crashing into another plane as it's landing. So that's lucky, right? He could have crashed into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when he got off the plane, there was only a short shuttle ride from the plane to the terminal. He didn't come into Dallas, is what I'm getting at. If he'd come into Dallas, it's like a 45-minute ride. Gesundheit to you too, my child. Man, peace be with you.
And also with you.
Because a lot of people don't know this, but Gesundheit means God bless you in German. It does. That's why I prefer the expression, "You sneezed," when somebody else sneezes. I already kissed her. I'm going to kiss her again. If you won't stab me with that needle anyway.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. It's okay.
Your
I was aware of it. I was keeping an eye on seeing where your hand was, seeing if I was going to stab onto it.
That would not be good.
What is up?
Yeah, what's up with you, Jordan Spike? Has it been a minute?
It's likely, Jordan Spike, unfortunately, if it has been a minute, then I probably do not remember you. You could call it bad memory. You could call it too many people to remember. You could call it too many people with bad memories, with bad memory having too many bad memories to poorly remember. You could call it whatever you'd like. But I call it a wonderful, exciting adventure for everyone.
How does 7 p.m. sound for Google Meet with Akeisha and?
That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. Things are much better nowadays. Were they bad before? Were you, when I last spoke with you, were you trapped in the jaws of a crocodile? Just so I do remember who you are. You're that guy who was trapped in the jaws of a crocodile last time I saw him. Hey, how are you enjoying these PTSD intrusive thoughts? That's a special little bonus you got, in addition to all of the trauma. St. Bernard Poodle mix? Well, it's better than a St. Bernard Chihuahua mix. No, that would be silly. You dirty rat! I moved away, got married, have a kid, and I fix cars. I used to do music, but I like change. So now no longer college single man, not knowing. Instead, I'm a working man with a wife. That's the song he sang, huh? I'm Jordan Spike, man with a wife. I'm Jordan Spike. I made a kid. I used my dick and spewed my seed. Her fertile womb did all the rest. That's your song, Jordan Spike. It's a song that was custom made for you. It's couture, okay? That's not a regular, just off the rack song. It's couture. That means it's more expensive and you have to drive back there more times. Yeah, well, you know what they say. Sundays are for Negro spirituals. That's why I like to spend my Sunday evenings fellowshipping by way of Negro spiritual. Like this. Oh Lordy Lord, my time is come, and when the angel fly on down, I will see the light above, set me free. Like that. That's how you sing a Negro spiritual. You gotta clap while you're doing it. Otherwise, people would just might mistake it for a regular spiritual. But if you want to be like super woke nowadays, um, you skip you don't want to reinforce the colonial white man's oppression any further by singing regular spirituals. You just want to sing Negro spirituals and, of course, Indian songs like hey yeah 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 like that. Angels can be nasty. Are you speaking specifically about Charlie's Angels? Those angels could be nasty? Because they seem like sweet ladies to me. Getting "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" vibes over here. "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou"? I don't know. You'll have to ask somebody else. Um. So anyway, Nasty Angels. I do know a little bit about Nasty Angels, Michelle, because next Halloween, not this Halloween I'm dressing up as a manly, masculine cat. Well, moderators, get your band hammer ready. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, this year I'm dressing up as a very masculine cat because I'm trying to reclaim cat costumes from the tyranny of women. Next year, I'm going to reclaim angel costumes from the tyranny of women by dressing up as the Archangel Michael. I will have a fiery sword and I will smite sinners whenever I see them sinning. So, yeah, we're both going to be cats. Well, Rachel and I need to be the same species because we're married. And interspecies marriage is not okay. I'm sorry. Call me conservative. Call me old fashioned. But I just don't believe in an interspecies marriage. I'm going to be a regular male cat. Obviously unneutered. I'm going to be an unneutered cat. If I were a neutered cat, I'd just be like super needy with Rachel all night. Can you watch me drink my drink, Rachel? Can you watch me eat any more pets? It'd be like that if I were a neutered male cat. Like trouble. Does a Swiftie you mean a Taylor Swift fan? Well, does this answer your question? It doesn't. I do know a couple of her songs. So I periodically find myself singing, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Shame on you, you piece of shit. Actually, when she sings it, the original lyrics were about my cat. And they were, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. You gave me cat AIDS. But the record label asked her to change it. I'm also familiar with their song. We were both young and me, 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 and me, 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 me. It's a good song. Romeo, save me. I don't want to be alone. I'll be waiting. All you have to do is phone. You be the prince and I'll be the princess. Hurry, ask my father. I'll pick out a white dress or something like that. But you know what's interesting? Taylor Swift didn't end up marrying that gentleman. No. She was so sure that she wanted to marry him at like 17 or 18 or whatever, but she did not end up marrying him. And to this day, she remains unmarried. Yeah, I mean, obviously, for Halloween, when I'm dressing up as a male cat, I'm going to they're going to spray on the neighbor's house, walk over there and shoot a load all over their patio so that they step in it in the morning and go, ew! Just like cats do. I believe in, when I dress up in a costume for Halloween, that's the only time when I really believe in and apply method acting. She says, Chiefs game again, huh? Well, because, her sweetheart, Kelsey, tight end Travis Kelsey, is that his first name? I don't know what his first name is, but Kelsey is a high-performing player, is likely to do well, no doubt feels motivated by the presence of his the new blush of love. It is important to remember the story of Lot in the Bible. Two angels came the night before, told Lot to collect his family and leave Babylon. He did. And then the angels killed over 100,000 people. So, watch out for angels, right? If you're sleeping in your room and this beautiful white lighted winged thing comes down and, oh, sleeping one, awake. You need to watch out. If you have a handgun, pull it out immediately and start shooting, because angels are not to be trifled with. You remember, you're perfectly within your rights according to the Castle Doctrine. It doesn't matter if they're an angel or not. If they invade your home, you go ahead and shoot them.
I'm very much interested in your method acting.
Oh yeah, well, before I dress up as an angel, I will spend some time carrying around a fiery sword and smiting whatever sinners I see. So let's say I see a couple holding hands, but no wedding rings.
Oh!
I'm gonna go hit them with my fiery sword. Now I'm gonna hit them with the flat of the sword. I'm not gonna chop them in half or anything.
Oh.
But they probably will have their clothes light on fire. And that's just to be expected.
Okay.
It represents the fires of hell that they're sure to taste when they die after their sin-filled lives.
So you're gonna be an angel next year?
Next year, yeah.
Next year, and you're gonna be
a male cat this year.
Are you a specific angel next year?
Yeah, Michael, the Archangel.
Oh, you
Michael.
are Michael.
Yeah, the male, this badass archangel,
Would you say that he's like a favorite?
Well, I mean, what I think he reveals is that manliness is so powerful that it can overcome wings and a lacy white skirt. All you got to do is pair it with a fiery sword. Then the year after that, I'm going to reclaim sailor costumes from the gays. And be a straight sailor. Yeah.
You're gonna be a straight sailor.
Yeah, and you can dress up as my sweetheart I'm seeing on shore leave.
Oh my god, that's terrible for me.
Well, it doesn't mean I'm seeing other ladies on other shore leaves.
You're just gay?
No, you're the lady I'm seeing on shore leave. You're my sweetheart that I go back and hump when I get shore leave.
Oh, I see. You're reclaiming being a sailor from the gays.
Right, because normally if you dress up as a sailor and you're a man, you are definitely gay. But that's part of my general plan to reclaim things for the widely oppressed straight white male. I'm tired of us being second-class citizens. So that's why, no more monopoly on cat costumes, ladies. No more monopoly on angel costumes. Sorry, gays. Sailors are still in the military, and that's about as straight as you can get. So anyway, that's my plan.
I think it's a really good plan. I really like that you're a method costume wearer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, a year after next year, when I do dress up as a sailor, I will be engaging in a few naval battles in the month preceding October. Be prepared for that.
I have to worry about you.
It should be fine. I'll be with actual Navy people who know what they're doing. They've already been informed that they're going to have a big name method actor coming on. Because I may not be known in Hollywood, but among Halloween circles, I'm well known.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A handgun won't help with an angel? Well, let me ask you this, Michelle Way. Did anybody in the Bible ever try to shoot an angel with a handgun?
Meow.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Why not? Because the Garden of Eden didn't have a tree that grew handguns as fruit. That's why. They did have a hand grenade tree, but not a gun tree.
If you pick a grenade from the grenade tree, does it go off like, you have to throw it right away?
No, it still has a pen in it. But Cain and Abel used to pull the pen and play hot potato with a grenade. But because they were in the Garden of Eden, possibly also because each of them had a lucky rabbit's foot, it actually always blew up equidistant from them, and the shrapnel always missed them.
Wow.
So they got pretty lucky on that regard.
How many people lived in the Garden of Eden?
Well, let's see. There was Adam, there was Eve, there was Cain, there was Abel, there was the devil in the form of a snake, and there was Miranda. Miranda was this other lady who lived in the Garden of Eden before Adam and Eve got there.
Oh, really?
And she was trying to be a good neighbor, but she was not accustomed to having a family with kids living next door. A lot of people say that she's the one who talked Eve into talking Adam into eating the apple because she wanted them out.
Oh, this makes so much sense.
Well, what she didn't get was that when they got kicked out, she was getting kicked out too because God was closing down the whole Garden of Eden. So she got kicked out too, and then she ended up having an affair with Abel after he was married to this one woman who was really into criminals. Who had a fetish for murderers.
Mm-hmm.
She married Abel, and then Abel had an affair with Miranda, and then Abel and Miranda plotted to kill his wife, but she caught wind of it and killed both of them first. Pretty crazy.
That is. Wow, Miranda really caused a lot of problems, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, Cain didn't kill Abel with a hand grenade. Okay.
Yeah.
Cain killed Abel with
Yeah.
a cutting insult.
Do you need more food? No.
Abel was so shocked by the witty and cutting wry remark his brother had made that he had a heart attack and died. Anyway, Miranda had children just before she died, though. They were also named Miranda, both of them. One son, one daughter. They went to the land of Nod, and they were known as the two Mirandas. And the boy was obviously teased a bit because his name was Miranda too, but they told them apart because, and eventually they changed the boy's name to Mirando. And that's how boys' names became O names and girls' names became A names. That's the origin of that. Anyway, it was out of jealousy that Cain killed Abel. Are you sure it wasn't because Cain said, look, I'm in a really good position to invent murder. If I'm going to go down in history for something, I want to go down for inventing something big. What was he jealous of, Michelle? What could Cain possibly have been so jealous of that he killed his own brother? Was it because Abel was making progress with Miranda? Is that where the jealousy came from? Like, what's there to be jealous of if it's just you and your brother and your mom and your dad? Abel got a bigger share of potato stew.
Yeah, what is there to be jealous of if it's just the four of you?
Maybe Abel had more oxen or something.
Maybe they were in a conflicted relation.
That's possible. And on the first day, God created simulation theory.
I can't.
Biblically, God told both Cain and Abel to bring their first fruits, which is like the first lamb. Abel had Abel had cattle. He brought his firstborn lamb. Cain was a farmer. He brought fruits and vegetables. But they weren't his first fruits and vegetables. Maybe because the first ones came out bad, you know? He didn't want to give God bad ones.
Yeah, like he was a perfectionist, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe a little OCD, wanted things to be perfect. So it was when the first group wasn't.
Well, I'm thinking what happened was God was testing him. And he said he wants his first ones. He didn't want Cain to be using his own judgment on this matter at all. Just provide him ordinally the first, not quality wise the first. So when Cain disobeyed, God said, "You get second place." In other words, loser. And that's and that's what made
Yo, honestly, I would probably be jealous for that too.
then Cain's like, "Well, fuck you, Abel."
I'm not sure I would kill. I don't really think that. I mean, jealous, yeah, but I mean,
Miranda should have said to
yeah.
Cain, "Chill out, dude. You'll have another chance to compete in front of God against your brother. All right,
Yeah.
just wait a little bit."
Ayo, Channing, pee-pee. Pee-pees are cats.
Oh, there's no Channing pee-pee. Okay? There's no Channing unless sad pee-pee.
Marissa really like stirred some trouble, didn't she?
Yeah, you mean Miranda?
Miranda, yeah.
Well, her middle name is Marine.
Miranda Marine.
Yeah. McGillicuddy. Miranda Marine McGillicuddy was her name.
Irish.
She was the first Irish woman. Because God said, let's make Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, and we need to get an Irishman. So that's where Miranda came from. God put a mark on him all of his life. If anybody tries to kill Cain, they will also die. So Cain walked the earth miserable. Well, couldn't he have just killed himself? What about euthanasia? Would that have counted? What mark was it as well? Was it Mark Robitaille, former NHL hockey player? Did it say, "Don't kill me, ordered by God"? Probably. You timed them out for 1,000.8 seconds. How long is that?
It's too long. I really did it for fucking too long. I feel bad now. I did it for 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, you could easily enough have just hidden them right away.
They make you like
With all
choose.
this spamming, you know. At that point, you just gotta call it spamming.
Yeah.
Anyway, Channing is spamming and miggity meowing. I watched Lucifer. I watched some of that show.
Yeah.
It was pretty good for a while.
It was good for a while. What the heck happened though?
Things ran out of gas, Rachel. You know, it's like I was watching this YouTube video earlier this morning about Bewitched, that old TV show Bewitched.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like it ran 8 seasons and then they just ran out of gas. Yeah, everybody was tired of doing it. You know what I thought was interesting also that I learned today is that, you know, the dad on the Brady Bunch?
Yes.
Well, apparently he was a big diva on the set who thought he was like too good to be doing the Brady Bunch. And he would do things like the line in the script had read, uh, because in the episode, the two, Alice and one of the girls were competing and making the best strawberry preserves. And he's supposed to come in and say, "This kitchen smells like strawberry heaven." But he looked up in the Encyclopedia Britannica, which said that cooked strawberries don't smell like strawberries, and refused to read the line because it was inaccurate. So, what? And he ended up saying the line instead of, "I feel like I died and woken up in strawberry heaven."
Oh.
Died and gone to strawberry heaven. Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't a big difference, but he had to argue, like the producer had to argue with him about shit like that all the time.
Wow.
Meanwhile, like the lady who played Marcia, she was, you know, like as the show got progressed into its like 5th season, she was approaching 18. She was 13 when the show started.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, then she started approaching the producer and stuff with her ideas of things to put in the show, like, we need to keep it modern and contemporary. Like, the parents should become swingers.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Martha should sneak a boy up to her room. Anyway, the producers didn't go for that.
You know, your brother seems to be following you, huh? Oh, they didn't go for that?
No.
Wow, Marsha.
Yeah. Marcia.
Yeah, Marsha.
But it's interesting because one of the things that video detailed was that during its actual broadcast times, when it was on TV, not in reruns, it didn't do well in the ratings at all.
Really?
The highest it ever got was 31st in the Nielsen ratings.
Oh my gosh, it's
But
low.
But they started syndicating it the year after they canceled it, and once it hit syndication, it did much better than other things in syndication, and has had a much more of a life after show than most shows of the same time period. You know.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So sometimes things don't catch fire until after they go away, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the Brady Bunch movie that came out whenever it came out. I thought they cast that very well.
So well. They the characters really looked and acted like
yeah, that
Brady Bunch people.
It was really good. Like some of them, you're like, is that looks like the exact same person as on the original show.
The girl who was Marsha looks exactly like
Yeah, she was really the
And
same.
Cindy too.
And Jan too, really.
Jan, yeah, and Alice also. They all did really.
Yeah.
And what's her name as the mom? They did a really good job casting. I liked that movie a lot when it came out. Like I said, I think we saw it like 2 or 3 times in the theater. Me and my dad and my sister.
Well, at some point towards the end of the show, the oldest brother and Marcia were hitting it.
They were.
They were a thing, off in kind of in secret, but not that much secret because it's like when that season they had to film this one episode of his name Bobby and Marcia sitting next to each other on the bed. The director and producer were like, "Okay, this is the chemistry between them is way too obvious. We can't have this scene between a supposed brother and sister. It's not going to work out very well." And then reshoot it a bunch of times or whatever. So,
That they reference that in the movie. Like,
do that.
yeah, like
She's got a crush on him or something?
that like they awkwardly do like a hold hand thing or something, and but they don't ever have them actually.
What is Channing Tatum's MBEI type? I'm not quite sure who Channing Tatum is.
I think she was talking about the dad in the Brady Bunch.
Oh, he seems quite like an ISFJ, really.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Wayne Brady was perfectly cast. Who's Wayne Brady?
Wayne Brady was on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, that's a different Brady, Ruben. God. You ruined everything. So yeah, I watched quite a few YouTube videos this morning, which I don't do very frequently, but occasionally I'll get a bug up my butt and watch some YouTube videos. Um, I additionally watched one on um, simulation theory, which of course irritated me with its reasoning in a couple of spots. So I had to make a video response. And then, of course, I'm uploading a video to YouTube. A 15-minute long video from my phone. That's going to take a long time. Other things are going to be difficult to watch. But YouTube is better at letting you watch YouTube while uploading things than they are at letting you watch things on other streaming services while uploading things.
Yeah.
So that encouraged me to watch YouTube videos in part. That in part encouraged me. I watched one on the notion of like this thing that's bullshit, but that you'll hear about on like conspiracy type kind of wild conspiracy type things. Um, is the idea that the magnetic pole shift, which where the poles flip every periodically, is going to result in a change in behavior in the molten rock layer beneath the crust that will cause the land masses to well, basically that will cause the Earth to keep spinning, but instead of the air and water spinning at the same speed as the Earth, it would cause all the land to freeze up and all this water and air to blow around the Earth and this massive cataclysm causing event. So I watched a video on that notion, where it came from, why it's bullshit, etc. And how the most obvious reason being that we have records of multiple magnetic pole shifts and no corresponding records of die-offs. So why would why would the flipping the magnetic poles? Why should we conclude that it's going to cause a die-off given that me getting it? So I watched a video on that. That was kind of interesting. Then what else did I watch? Well, oh, I watched a video on biggest waves ever caught on camera. 100-foot wave, you know, pretty big. Somebody's surfed 100-foot wave, although the height of the wave is not been like validated enough for Guinness Book of World Records to update their record yet, but appears to be maybe legit. Anyway, if it's not 100, it's close. It's a very big wave, and people surf down it, down the front of it. What do you think, as a Christian, their treatment and intolerance of gays? Well, as a Christian, I I don't think we that people should treat gays any differently than anybody else. Groupism is bad. Every individual is first and foremost an individual and needs to be treated as such. If you want to try to have a lot of positions about this group or that group or whatever, then you've got the whole thing backwards. That's not the way the world works. You deal with individuals, not members of groups. It's like those MGTOW people, right? They have all these positions about women, but you know what? You don't end up dating any. You don't end up dating women. You don't end up getting with women. You get with another individual human being. Yes, she's a chick, but she's defined by the qualities of her particular self, not by the fact that she's a chick. Even if some of her qualities line up with your preconceptions about what chicks are and probably how they should be, you know. That's just one component of her person. There'll be other aspects of this of herself that don't line up with your expectations of what chicks are, what chicks should be, you know. So obviously, that's just one example of why groupism is always bad. Deal with individuals as individuals. The inability to engage an individual human being as an individual first is indicative of 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 a misapprehension, misunderstanding, and or willful disregard of of the need to evaluate things on their merits, right? It's like it's abdicating the need to evaluate things on their merits at the most uh, in the most important at the most important spot, which is to say, you might have heuristics like measure twice, cut once, that are designed to prevent you from making mistakes. But you shouldn't have heuristics about people like, because they look like this, I can conclude these things about them. That heuristic is, well, sometimes it may be informative, like to some extent. Um, if I see uh, a youngish woman with a baby in a stroller and another kid she's holding by the hand or something, I'm going to conclude she's their mother. Probably that she's either married or in a relationship. Depending on what kind of car she's driving, I might conclude different things about that, you know. Like if she's in a fancy car or something, I'll conclude, oh, her she's married and her husband makes a lot of money. So it's not the case that you're never informed at all by information in the visual field, but if you engage the individual based on that information, you're doing them, yourself, and everybody else a disservice. So, well, let's refer to this lady again. Um, if I go into the store and be like, uh, oh, hey, you look like the kind of person who would want this tip. There's this really new, great, fancy, organic baby formula. You should check it out. It's blah, 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 blah. And she goes, actually, I'm the nanny for this family, and they gave me a list of what to get. And then I feel foolish. So the point is, it's it's harmless enough in some sense if I put those kind of projections onto the nanny, but it's most harmful when you are talking about groups that a person doesn't choose to be a part of. Things like sex, you don't choose to be a man or a woman. Sexuality, you don't choose to be gay or straight. Um, Race, you don't choose to be dark or light colored skin or whatever. So when you're dealing with groups like that, um, and you're trying to avoid a complex and nuanced evaluation of the individual, then you're abdicating your responsibility as a human being to reciprocate courtesies you expect afforded yourself. They're biased. So when you say, what do you think as a Christian, their treatment and intolerance of gays? If you mean, as a Christian, what do I think of Christians? Do, treat other Christians' treatment or intolerance of gays? I mean, I I just think that there are individuals who are intolerant of gays and who are hijacking Christianity for their purposes. As long as it's an authentic question, designed to engage meaningfully and not just shit in my soup, go for it. Um, yeah. So, so that's the deal with that. It's it is wrong to link intolerance to Christianity. It is correct to say that there are certain hate-filled people who, if they want to justify their hate, they need to point to something that purportedly has some sort of moral high ground. If that's the case, I would like to know. I would like to say I've been studying MBTI for a little while now, and I'm seeing already concrete results. But when would you say one can be confident in MBTI knowledge? Well, I mean, my perspective on it is that to to understand cognitive functions as fully as they can be understood right now requires a person to watch all of my defensible typology videos and and understand it through the frame of reference of, or just understand the architecture of cognitive functions as representing 16 possible configurations to mean a single prime directive, which is to close the gap between expectations and reality. Each of those 16 configurations is of two primary functions, um, and there are four kinds of functions: action, deliberation, knowledge, and interface. All configurations are either configurations of action and deliberation functions or of knowledge and interface functions, which is explained by the nature of deliberation and knowledge versus the nature of action and interface. So it's like that's obviously way too quick summary, etc. But the thing is, if you don't understand the architecture like that, in other words, if you're learning about cognitive functions from parties who have not done the job of modeling something correctly, it doesn't matter what you're modeling. If you're trying to model something, that requires there are certain things you have to, you need to have some environment in which the model is expressed, right? That means you need to find fields, vectors, objects, agents, a lot of different things. And if if you're somebody on YouTube who's making statements, saying things about you about cognitive functions, but you haven't predicated what you're saying on agreement with what I've just articulated, then even if you are right about some things you say, it is a bad idea for anyone to listen to you because you will do more muddying of the water than you will do anything else. Especially given the fact that there is one correct and clear rendering being done here, and and therefore all these other people doing it somewhat wrong, not agreeing with this basic foundation and working from there, uh, just make it nearly impossible for the anybody to take it seriously because you got all these half-ass thinkers who don't know how to fucking put together a case to save their lives, attempting to do what only somebody who's got the kind of skills that a debate coach has ought to be doing. Case building is not easy, even for people who are good at it. What happens when you master it? Nothing. Like what I went through a phase where I tended to view everything always through the lens of cognitive functions because it is the meta frame, and it works such that you can apply it to just about all of your engagements. But then I just sort of stopped doing that, after a little while, just because um, I'm just not. I, I just don't deal with other people that abstractly in the sense that I'm more self-absorbed than that. I'm not paying that much attention to them. Um, but there was a time period when I'd note in myself plenty of examples of cognitive function that then I'd keep track of to use as examples to explain things. Um, but I don't really do that anymore. You kind of exhaust its overbearingness, but you'll never get rid of using the terminology to shorthand concepts that otherwise you wouldn't be able to express. Like if I go, that was bad FE on my part, then Rachel knows exactly what I'm talking about. If I say, then she'll probably ask me to articulate the specifics of why. But if I say, "Why I made a social mistake," that's clear enough, right? But if I'm talking about how I'm not taking good care of myself, and I say I'm just fucking up an SI in general, I'm not getting enough sleep, I'm not drinking enough, I'm not eating enough, or say 4 slot SI when I walk out of the house having no cigarettes again, saying things like that makes is quick and easy shorthand communication for me and Rachel because we both have a lot of knowledge about cognitive function, a lot of experience talking about it, etc.
Yeah.
Well, I get it. Um, People want to watch what they want to watch, and what they don't want to watch is a dry, TI robust lecture on on how people should stop doing anything fun with MBTI. you know, it's like I like watching videos about how I'm so special because I'm this type, and then and you go, you should stop having fun with this. That's wrong. People don't want to hear that.
No.
You go, shut up, you and your boring thing. I'm just trying to learn about how special I am. At the risk of sounding prudish, there's an excess of meaningless sex, and it's easier to sleep around than to have a good woman and actually put in effort. Well, probably not for people in MGTOW. They probably find it hard to sleep around because they probably find it hard to hide their resentment of women when dealing with them. Either it expresses as like being socially crippled by the situation, or it expresses as suspicion and snarkiness towards the woman or something, you know?
Yeah. And women can pick that up. I mean, you could.
Yeah, I mean, women can't not pick that up.
Oh.
For somebody who doesn't feel confident about themselves as a slayer or whatever, or as a slave, either way, you know, trying to get with somebody while not drunk is an incredibly challenging proposition.
I mean, sleeping around should never be like the thing that you do. Could you really drink?
Yeah, I think too. Probably. Well, I need to grind some more weed. I may need to go get some more. Are any Doms ox really that rare? I'm pretty confident I know quite a few of them, and the other that I was told that if I knew more than three, it was cap. Yeah, it almost certainly is cap. To use a young person's term, NTPs are quite rare, but oh, NI DOMs. I sorry, it says NI DOMs. Uh, I would say that NI12, you got four different types there. You know, you got ENTJ, ENFJ, INFJ, INTJ. Yeah, they're pretty rare too, but I'm not sure they're quite as rare as NTPs. But it's very difficult for me to say because I suspect INFJs are a lot more likely to get typed by me than any other type is likely to get typed by me. So the fact that I see more of them than I do NTPs is not necessarily indicative of anything. It's a tricky question. Um,
I think NTPs are pretty rare. I mean, ENTPs especially.
but I mean, the thing to remember is this: that if I don't know what you're basing your conclusions regarding their type on. So if you're basing it on what they told you their type is because they took some online test, you can dismiss that entirely. If you're basing it on your own conclusions about their type, well, I don't know. Like, if you're basing it on your own conclusions about their type because you've done a lot of the testing questions that I use in typing sessions with the understanding of what they ought to be interpreted to mean and how heavily they ought to be weighted and stuff, then I think you probably have a decent shot of having them typed correctly. But if it's some other context than that, then almost certainly they're not typed correctly because every online test over indicates intuitives. Over, sorry, what?
Yes.
It's like you're an INTJ, the mastermind.
A lot of times the NFP.
You're an NFP. The beautiful butterfly.
The rainbow glitter colored butterfly.
You are the mystical and rare INFJ. So the thing is, ENTJs, I don't encounter many of them. They seem to be quite rare. INTJs, I encounter a few more myself, but I think that's because, again, NI DOMs are um, are more likely to be typed by me than the percentage is going to be higher than just their percentage of the population. ENFJs, maybe a little more common than INFJs, but I'm not really sure. It's hard to say.
Yes, Moonfay 11. ENFPs have rainbow sparkles. Thank you.
Sure. The actual archetype name for ENFP is bedazzled butterfly. It's a combination of rhinestones and nobody's disagreeing with you here, Lana. Sleeping around's a dead end. I mean, I'm certainly not in favor of casual sex.
No, neither am I.
And I'm very LTR focused, you know.
Me too.
Even when I couldn't find anybody qualified to be in a long-term relationship, I would just be in a long-term relationship with whomever, just so that, because I hated dating so much. Yeah. And maybe because I was trying to sleep around wrong. It may have been that I was trying to sleep through instead of around.
Oh, maybe. Sleep through.
That might explain why it didn't work for me.
See, sleeping through like really affects the soul. I mean, sleeping around affects the soul too, but it's almost like sleeping through is if you want to steal a person's soul.
Well, what kept happening is this: it would be about ready to have sexual time with a lady I met on the town, right? And I said, okay, I'm sleeping through this. And then nothing ever happened.
I think you're doing it wrong.
All right, well, I guess I just remembered the preposition wrong. You're supposed to sleep around.
So I was really thinking like through. Like, you know how like there's that meme of Homer Simpson like backing himself away into a bush to hide.
I'm not familiar with that one, but I'll take your word for it.
Okay, so there's this meme where Homer Simpson backs away himself to hide into a bush, and I think that when people sleep through others, it's like Homer Simpson has been backing into the bush. You back to the person, and then all of a sudden you're in them.
No, that's sleeping behind somebody.
Oh.
It's a little different.
Well, I really have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, I'll tell you what it is, Moonfei. It's heterosexual people feeling insecure. So,
yeah.
You know, like, you want to make sure that either for certain kinds of males, your lack of reproductive viability, instead of being instead of being like that Johnny song. He's better than me. Oh my god, it fucking hurts because I'm not like other guys, I'm worse. They make sure it's not that experience. They position their own lack of reproductive viability, if it goes wrong, as a virtue and condemn sleeping around. Because even if they don't necessarily feel like sleeping around themselves, they also don't want whatever girl they may eventually get to be sleeping around because that's going to make them feel unsafe because then they're going to feel like they have to compare up against a bunch of previous partners, the larger the number of which the lower the probability that you're going to compare at the top of that list, right? And people tend to be insecure slash jealous on one of two grounds: emotional, sort of intimate connectivity emotionally, and or physically sexual.
Man, I dealt with that in our relationship. Like, remember coming back from New York, like for some not reason, like being really jealous, like that you had such a long relationship with Candace, and I was like, oh my god, like it was probably so intimate, and I can't compare to that. It was so fucked up, like.
Well, I've got good news, Rachel. This relationship is 1 trillion times better. More intimate.
Oh, I guess I have to hear that sometimes. Thank you.
And then it's like for women, they want to make sure that their man doesn't start going like, "Hey, maybe we should invite Sue over to join our party." It's like women are afraid their guy's gonna be like one of those horrible guys. So
Well, I mean, that's what what's her name's boyfriend was like, right? Like,
what's her name?
Chelsea Handler's, like that's
Oh yeah,
yeah, like
right. Candace
she's
is my ex-wife. She was my wife when Delilah was or we were in a relationship from when Delilah was 3 to when she was like 17 or something. It was a role filling relationship. Which is to say, I was glad to be rid of the mother and glad that she didn't want to be part of the child rearing. But I didn't want to do all the child rearing myself. And I felt like, right? I mean, I felt like Delilah needed an SFJ around, basically.
mm-hmm.
She was indeed Mexican, but she wasn't from Mexico. She was American from Baldwin Park. She was just brown. So we really shouldn't call her Mexican. We just call her a brown American. You should only call people who are from Mexico Mexicans. Yeah. Like it would be silly to call me an Oklahoman. You know why? Because I'm not from Oklahoma. They're a handful. Okay. If you say so. I don't know what that
I
means.
think
Boy, these Mexican Americans, they're a real handful.
what about American girls? Are they handfuls? I'd say that American girls are pretty.
Are you talking about the girls? I thought you just meant. This is
Oh,
how. I
yeah.
thought you meant Mexican culture in general.
Oh, I read that wrong.
If you were gonna be stereotypical about the women, I mean, you might have read it right. But
No, I read it wrong.
if you were gonna be stereotypical about the women, you would think that wouldn't be the stereotype.
About
Well, it could
Mexican.
be.
About the Mexican woman?
Yeah, it could be. They could be a handful. Like you could be imagining like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of
Well, in
more
that case,
Italian.
though, you'd also put Italian women as handful, plus like
I mean,
Irish drunkards.
I would have said, based on Real Housewives, that Long Island women were an incredible handful.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They are. They are.
Oh hell no! If you think you're gonna come over to my house and talk to me like that,
Oh my God! Please continue.
hey, so I'm a writer, and I'm fascinated by combining MBTI and fiction. I have the theory that there may be some characters that may be impossible to fully type. Well, yeah, for sure, because not every writer writes characters that are consistent with MBTI types. I can tell you a show that does an excellent job, intentionally or otherwise, of representing very true to type characters is Bob's Burgers.
Yes.
That's the example I use for characters that are written singularly as a type. Again, probably unintentionally, but the dad's an ISTJ, the mom's an ESFJ, the older daughter's an INFP, the younger daughter's an ENTP, and the son is an ESFP. It seemed really cut and dry to me on that show. But a lot of shows, it's not cut and dry. The character is written, like Iron Man, written to be an ENTP, but with really good TE and SE, various other impossibilities like that. I'm gonna go get a beverage for drinking. I'll be right back. $7 then we got rid of it, right? 7 o'clock?
A little bit more time if he's just getting ready.
Okay, cool. Then I will take the trash cans up. We're gonna wrap up this stream pretty soon, friends. Pretty soon. We have an important meeting with some important shareholders about holding their shares. They're not holding them properly. It's not really shareholders. We don't have any shareholders. We just have our own lifestyles. There. That's better. Now you can see me. Ladders go to heaven, shoes go to hell. I didn't realize until last night when Rachel sort of informed me. I had it backwards. In Chutes and Ladders, chutes are good and ladders are bad. I mean, it makes sense because you have to work harder to climb a ladder. But normally, up is desirable and down is bad. So I had gotten it confused. I was thinking, obviously, ladders go to heaven, chutes go to hell. Now I realize part of this person's evil is that they subverted the truth of chutes and ladders, flipped everything around. All right, so I got to take the trash up tonight, so let me go ahead and do that now real quick. Okay. Won't take too long. I just got to do it. I'm going to leave you here for this process. Uh, you'll see me come around here in a second. Actually, I'll put you right here. I think you're going to love this spot. And you're going to say, wow, Eric, I wish you had chosen that spot before. On many occasions. I could never get tired of that spot. There, isn't that beautiful? See the little blue thing up there? That's called a scar. One. Two. Three and four. And that's it to open the garage. Sure smells like autumn. Smells like cold, wet forest. One trash can. Two trash cans. Okay.
Is the best beat that you ever heard for rapping. If you think it's a good beat cause it's trap, then you don't know very much about trap. Is the best beat that you ever heard for rapping. If you think it's a good beat cause it's trap, then you don't know very much about trap.
Well, I missed a phone call. I'm not sure who it was. So, example of good TE is bring this to those, not those to this. I was about to bring those to this. There we go, face to face, just a couple of silver spoons. Whew. Well, that was tiring. I think I made one of my better Mindy's Club shorts today. Let the garage door opener.
Delilah called and asked that you call her back.
Alright, cool. Alright, friends, I gotta go. I'm gonna call my daughter. I'm gonna have this meeting. See you later. Bye. Thanks.